Now, we need to understand that arguments are always there. We argue about almost everything. We argue about politics, we argue about education, we argue about marriage, we argue about profession, we argue about sports, we argue about music, we argue about almost everything. But there is one argument that will never end. Arguments about religion. It has been there since time immemorial. Up to now, the arguments about religion are still there. I don't know, when you are approached by someone and they start an argument about religion, I really don't know how you carry yourself around. For me, I've been in the university and sometimes my friends could come and they want us to argue about religion, and they come with questions that are tricky, questions that they feel that I may not be in a position to respond, and they want to start an argument around that very topic. And sometimes I told them that I'm not in a position to argue at that moment. And every moment I remembered what Apostle Paul wrote in one of his epistles. And he says that an argument about religion makes both of us to look stupid. And I didn't want to look stupid. And at the same time, I wanted to reserve my belief about God, my belief about Jesus, and my belief about generally religion. So I didn't want to go ahead and start arguing. But the question is, when these arguments are brought to us, how do we respond to them? How do we carry ourselves around such arguments? Because whether you like it or not, if you are a Christian, these arguments must come. And especially if you publicly represent Jesus, if you publicly declare that Jesus is Lord, these arguments will arise. I've seen videos of people, especially ministers in the streets, being interrupted by other people. And this is just because of Jesus Christ. It is because of the gospel. It is because of religion. And some of them, they are even sent out of the street. Some of them are arrested just because of religion. And that's why I said that the topic of religion and the argument about religion will never stop. Since time immemorial, it has been there and it is still there. Now, I was watching an interview between Voddie Baucham and Ben Shapiro, and I just felt like I need to share this with you. And so Ben asked Voddie about Christian or religion arguments, and this is how Voddie responded.
So, one of the big moves, obviously, in college campuses, when you have professors who say that they're smarter than your parents, than your pastor, than everything else, is they rely on the fact that they have degrees to basically say that everybody who's religious is stupid. This is the lead attack on religion.
Right.
It's not really on religious values. What they're doing is an excuse for overriding those religious values and allowing you to experience whatever subjective pleasure you wish. But the case that they make is essentially, if you believe in religion, you're an idiot.
Right.
The only thing you can believe in is a materialistic conception of the universe,
right,
in which you're essentially pre-programmed by biology to do particular things. And the argument that they make is essentially you're an idiot to believe in God. So a college student comes to your house and starts telling you that God doesn't exist, that the Bible was written by a bunch of idiots in caves thousands of years ago. How do you respond to that? What's your chief argument to people who are purporting to object to the Bible or object more broadly to the existence of God and his providence in the universe on an intellectual basis?
Yeah, what I want to do is I want to show them that that's all based on presuppositions, right? The last thing that I want to do is get down on their level and say, okay, fine, let's just leave that aside. No, I want to say to them, all of that is based on presuppositions. You're taking leaps of faith back there in order to get here and make that argument. Your presuppositions have been tried before, and they've led to catastrophe. Mine is based on presuppositions as well, but my presuppositions has led to Western civilization. So that's the first thing that I want to say.
Wow, wow, wow. I love the response of Voddie Baucham. And it keeps me thinking, because if these people are bringing up these arguments, these atheists are bringing up this argument, you find that these guys have presupposition. In other words, they have assumptions about a thing. So when they tell you that God does not exist or religion is a scam, they have an assumption about it. You see, they were created by God, but they deny that God exists. So it is upon assumption that they are saying God does not exist. And so when they come to us with the same argument that you say God exists and we believe that God does not exist, now we want you to prove yourself right about God's existence. And the response that Voddie gives is very instrumental. He says, yes, I believe that God exists upon presupposition. You also believe that God does not exist upon presupposition. So who is right? For me, I have an evidence, and the evidence is based upon assumption of what I believe, what I conceive, and what I understand about my God who exists. I've seen him do things, I've seen him talk to people, I've seen him heal the people, and that makes me believe that God exists. Now, you as an atheist, you as a pagan, or you as somebody who's bringing up this argument, you also have presupposition that God does not exist. You have your own reasons to why you say that God does not exist. So I don't see the point that you need to make me believe that God does not exist, when myself, I don't want to force you to believe that God exists. So both of us are acting from the basis of presupposition, from the basis of assumption. And I cannot say that I'm right and you are wrong, and you cannot say that you are right and I'm wrong. We depend on assumptions. Now, Voddie does not stop there. He gives a second thought about this argument. So let's listen to it and see what he has to say.
I'm not coming at this blind, right? I choose to believe the Bible because it's a reliable collection of historical documents written by eyewitnesses during the lifetime of other eyewitnesses. They report supernatural events that took place in fulfillment of specific prophecies, and they claim that their writings are divine rather than human in origin. So again, this is not just, close your eyes and hope you feel something, type stuff. We do not have a God who calls upon us for blind faith. We have a God who speaks. We have a God who has revealed himself.
Now look at that. I like his response. The second response has more value in it. When he talks of the Bible is a historical book. It is written by people who lived in the present time of that time, and they saw these things happen. And when they saw these things happen, they wrote them down. Why? Because they wanted to document this so that in the future, people may not say that these things did not happen, or they may say, what evidence do you have to show us that these things existed? And so these people who were led by the Spirit of God, they were able to write these historical events down, and they came up with the Old Testament and the New Testament, which now comes as an evidence to us who are believing in God, God who created heaven and earth, and God who exists today. And so when somebody comes to us with an argument about the religion, then we come with our evidence, which is the Word of God, which is the Bible. The Word of God carries the truth, and the Word of God represents what happened in those days. And also it represents the prophecies that are going to happen in the future. Some of the prophecies, we have already seen them. Some of the prophecies are yet to be revealed, and some of the prophecies will be revealed in the future. Maybe I'll not be there, you'll not be there, but our children and our generation are going to see these prophecies come to pass. So why do we say that the Word of God, or basically the Bible, is our evidence? Because we've seen these things happen, and we've seen that people, real people and normal people, have wrote this down. Some say that these were cavemen, these were people who did not understand, these were people who just lied about the historical events that took place. Now, where do you get that? You are basing on presupposition. You are basing on assumptions that those people wrote what was not happening. But we've seen it come to pass. We've seen people defending the Bible. We've seen them die because of the Bible. And by the way, are you aware that most of the people who defended the Word of God were killed, and they were killed by people who believed that God did not exist, people who believed that Jesus is not the Messiah. And so these people said, if you are now standing that the Bible is the evidence that God existed, then we are going to kill you. And these martyrs stood and they said, we believe in in God of heaven. We believe in God who created this heaven and who created this earth and everything in it. And therefore, if it calls us that we need to go and die because of this word, then we shall go. So these people, we've seen them. They have been killed. It's been recorded how they were killed, the apostles of God and the people who believed in the word of God and who stood in those times for the truth. Those people who fought for the Bible to be released and even to be translated in different languages so that me and you can understand, died because of this. And this gives us a solid evidence that the Bible is a correct representation of what happened in the past. Now, if you are approached with such people and such arguments arise, you have two things to base on. One, tell them that they are basing on assumptions, they are basing on presuppositions, and therefore they cannot prove themselves right and prove us wrong. Secondly, use the word of God as evidence. Use the Bible as evidence, because this is the only evidence that me and you who are Christians and who believe in God of the Bible have to defend ourselves. But above all, if you can avoid such arguments, please do avoid. I hope that this video helped you, and if that is the case, you already know what to do. Hit that like button so that this video can reach to more people. And if you like our general content, please feel very free to hit that subscribe button. And not only subscribe, my friend, ring that bell so that you do not miss any other future videos that you're going to upload on this channel. At this moment, please click anywhere on this screen to watch the next video, and I know that I will see you in that video. Peace.